Hey everyone, Michael O'Brien here, and today we are going to talk about ways to avoid or what to do if when you're performing magic you hear people going like, oh, I've seen this one before. Hello everyone, thank you so much for watching this video. Welcome to another episode of Advice for Magicians, where the goal is to help you to take your magic to the next level. In today's video, I wanted to talk about this. This is something that I've kind of touched on before in another video, but I've been asked about this a couple of times. Came up in my interview that I did with Craig Petty, came up in conversation in a Facebook little conversation. So I thought that I would revisit this and talk about how I personally like to deal with, oh, I've already seen this one, right? 9 times out of 10, you will hear this when you are going to do a card trick. You take out a deck of cards, you spread the cards out, and you say, here, go ahead and take out any card that you like. And before they reach into the card, they look at their friend and they go, oh, cool, I've seen this one before. Which you kind of don't want to hear, right? I mean, let's be realistic for a minute. You know, to a layman, pretty much every card trick is the same. Doesn't matter if you're doing a triumph, an ambitious card, oil and water, doesn't matter. It's a card trick, right? So chances are they're probably going to say, oh, I've seen this one before, right? So what can we do to kind of not get that reaction? Because we want them excited about it. We want them to have that sense of wonder. We want them to not be sure what's going to happen. We don't want them to think like, oh, the magician's just going to have me choose a card and then he's going to find it, right? So all of that right after these announcements. If you haven't already done so, please make sure to click the subscribe button and don't forget to ring the bell. That way you will know every single time I upload a new video. Also, keep in mind that this channel is sponsored by you. So if you would like to support the channel for just $1 a month, make sure to click the join button just below. You will also get access to a ton of awesome stuff, including tutorials, early access to videos, emojis, badges, and more. I would like to take this opportunity to welcome just a few of our newest members. So everyone, please say hello to, and I'm going to butcher your name, and I'm so sorry about that, to David Jomfy. Again, I apologize. To Tom. Thank you, Tom, for having an easy name for me to say. And to Oscar Malloy. Thank you guys so much for joining. It really means a lot. Thank you to all of my Mob Squad members, and thank you to all of my subscribers. It's because of you that I am able to keep this channel going. So, how do I get around this whole, oh, I've seen this one before situation, right? Well, there's a couple of ways to do this. Usually I will not open with a card trick. Usually I'll open with something different, something kind of interesting, something that piques their curiosity, right? So for me personally, the first thing that I do is I say, I have a question for you. Have you seen my purse? And I take out this little invisible purse, right? Like a purse frame with no bag on it. And they look at it and they go, oh, well, that's kind of cool, I guess, right? Or like, whoa, what is that? Like it's interesting. It's an interesting prop. And then I go on to open it up, reach inside and pull objects out, whether it be sponge balls or pulling out a coin or something, right? I do something with the purse. I kind of get them warmed up to the idea of like, oh, wow, this is some cool magic stuff that we're going to do. Sponge ball routine or like a coin trick or something like that. Then, once I've already done that, then maybe I'll roll into a card thing. I'll pull out a deck of cards and I'll launch into my card magic. Usually when you do that, they now have a rapport with you, right? Because they've seen you do magic, so they believe you. They know that, like, oh, okay, cool, this guy's legit, this girl's legit. They're going to do something awesome with this deck of cards. I don't know what to expect now. I didn't know what to expect with the purse. Maybe I'm not going to know what to expect with this deck of cards, right? So you build that rapport with your spectators, and then they're going to be less likely to be like, oh, I've seen this one before. Because before that, you're just some guy with a deck of cards. You're not really a magician to them. You're not a magician until you've proven that you're a magician. At that point, when you take out the cards and you spread them, you're just some guy that's doing a card trick. You are at the same level as their grandfather pulling the coin out from behind their ear, or that guy that does the 21 card trick, right? So they don't know any different. They haven't seen any actual sleight of hand. They just don't know. So usually I'll warm them up with something else that gets their attention, that's interesting, that's visual, that is fun and engaging and isn't cards. Now, I know that there are some of you screaming at the phone right now saying like, but I just do card stuff. I don't want to learn sponge balls or coins or whatever, right? Totally fine. So here's the workaround for this. Make the deck of cards interesting right off of the get-go. That way, as soon as you take out the cards, they're not going to just go, oh, I've seen this one before, right? You're not going to spread the deck and go, here, pick a card, any card. And they're going to go, oh, okay, all right. Let me guess, you're going to find it, right? So what I normally do, there's a few different things that I do, right? So one opener that I do is something with a miniature deck of cards. So I'll ask them, I'll say, do you guys like card tricks? They'll either say yes or no. I'll be like, I'll tell you what, I don't want to do too many things with cards, but just one little card trick. Is that okay? Just a little card trick? They say yes, and I go, okay, a little card trick. And I take out this tiny little deck of cards, and now this isn't something that they've seen before. They're not going to be like, oh, I've seen this, right? Because this isn't Grandpa with the 21 card trick. This is something interesting, a miniature deck of cards. What's he going to do with that? And then I go on to have them shuffle up the little deck of cards, right? Do a little mini overhand shuffle and have them choose some miniature cards from the miniature deck. And it's kind of silly, right? And then they put all the cards back in the deck, and then whew, the deck instantly changes into a full-size deck of cards, except for the card that they chose, which is a miniature card. So it's an interesting opener, right? It's not just a normal trick. Another thing that I'll do is I'll take out a deck of cards and I'll do a blank deck presentation with blank cards. And so I'll say, you know, this is what playing cards actually look like before they leave the factory, right? Right before, so they cut all the cards, right before they print the faces, this is what an unprinted deck looks like. I want to try something of your imagination. Do you have a good imagination? And then I launch into a blank deck routine, right? Stay tuned if you haven't already. I'm actually going to be doing a segment right here on the channel called Gaff Decks 101. I've already done a couple of episodes. I'm going to be talking about a blank deck trick that you can do that is really interesting, that's super duper easy, uses a special deck of cards that you can use as an opener. I also encourage you, if you're not already a member, to become a member, because right here in my tutorials playlist, I actually teach a few different blank deck tricks. I think there's like 3, maybe even 4 tricks just on this channel here using blank cards. So this is a great way to introduce the deck of cards, and the routines that I teach specifically roll into a regular deck. So you'll do the blank deck stuff. By the end of the presentation, you end with a deck of cards that's actually printed, and you can go and you can start doing your magic. So it's the perfect opener. It rolls right into your performance. So it's just great, right? If you're not already a member, become a member, and you can get access to those tricks, plus a ton of other stuff. But anyway, so that's another thing that you can do, right? Make the deck interesting, maybe using blank cards, or maybe using a deck of cards that looks really cool, right? Something, you know, like there's a deck of cards that looks like a transformer, the tuck box. Like the thing opens, like the little flap opens, and you pull cards out and you do in your fans and stuff, and the cards are like metallic looking and stuff. That could be really cool. You know, you could incorporate that into your presentation. This isn't something that they've seen before. They've never seen a deck that looks like a transformer that does like all this stuff with all these bells and whistles. What I love to do, so I'll do like my sponge ball thing, and then I'll do some like linking ring things. And then the first card trick that I do is I tell everyone, I say, you know, magic brings me back to my childhood. I wanted to bring you back to mine, right? And I'm actually going to show you some magic with the oldest deck of cards that I own. Would you like to see? And I take out like this old beat up like leather card case, and I open it up and I slowly pull it out, and it's my deck of Pokemon cards. At that moment, everyone freaks out. Oh my god, this is so cool, blah, blah, blah. And now they're excited to see the magic trick that I'm about to do with Pokemon cards. I challenge you guys to try this yourself. Take a box and say, inside of here is a deck of cards, and I'm going to blow your mind. Pull the cards out and just stop for a second and see what the reaction is. I guarantee you they're just going to kind of look at you like, all right, you got a deck of cards. Well, what are you going to do? Let me guess. You're going to pick a card and then you're going to find it, right? But do that exact same thing now. I got a deck here of cards, and I'm going to use these cards to blow your mind. And pull Pokemon cards out. I guarantee you, you will never get a better reaction to just taking a deck of cards out of the box than you do using Pokemon cards. They're full of nostalgia. Kids love them. Adults love them. They're different. They're interesting. What are you going to do with Pokemon cards? You're not going to just do pick a card trick with Pokemon cards. But here's the dirty little secret. You can do the same thing that you were going to do with regular cards with Pokemon cards, right? Or Yu-Gi-Oh cards, or Magic the Gathering cards, or baseball, basketball, whatever cards that you collect. Or that special, awesome, super metallic looking deck of cards that goes... like whatever you want to do that's going to not look like pick a card, any card, right? Even having a card selected. I'll never forget, I was at a lecture with John Armstrong, and he said, how many of you guys do this? Pick a card, any card. And like half the room's hands went up, and he went, stop it! Don't do that anymore, right? What you want to do is you want to make the selection process interesting. It could be as simple as this. Here, go ahead and take the cards, give them a little mix. Now look at the faces of the cards, take one out, hold it to your chest, and give me the rest of the cards back. You got one? Cool. I won't look. Show everybody the card. Go ahead and place the card back inside the deck, and away you go. So it doesn't have to be anything crazy, right? It can even be as something as simple as think of any card. You got one? Now, usually the first card that someone thinks of is the Ace of Spades, or like the King of Hearts, or like a king of some kind. King of Hearts, spades, diamonds, or clubs. Were you thinking of an ace or a king? 9 times out of 10 they'll say yes, and you go, okay, think of another card, but not those, because I don't want you to think that I was able to predict which card you were going to choose. In fact, choose a card that really, that most people wouldn't pick. What card did you choose? And then they tell you, and then you show that card's in the deck, you snap, and now the card's in your pocket, or in your wallet, or whatever, right? So there's a bunch of different ways that you can do this. Get creative, do whatever you can to make it interesting. And I promise you, you will get better reactions. People will take away something from it. They will actually leave thinking like, oh wow, that was so cool. The magician did this trick with this and blah, 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 and whatever, right? Not just like, oh yeah, it was pretty cool. The magician like had me pick a card and then he found it, right? So anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this. If you have any questions for me, do not hesitate to ask. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you haven't already done so, make sure to click the subscribe button and don't forget to ring the bell. That way you'll know every time I upload a new video. If you'd like to check out some more magic, visit us at o'brienmagic.com and be sure to check out our online magic shop where you will find the latest and greatest magic books, downloads, and accessories.